I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Friday, June the 9th. And that means a lot of things. One, it means my daughter turns 21 tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
Holy smokes. Good thing she wasn't in New Orleans all week. Okay, then. It's Friday. The weekend is upon us. I'm in a good mood. Candace is in a good mood. And those two things are amazing since we were up late at the Cure gig last night.
Yeah.
Tell about it.
Oh, Bob Smith, you little wizard, you.
He sounded so good.
Man, is that not the case? That guy sounded like it was 1986.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, he's not a screamer, but he's a warbler. He gets up high and he has all the notes, and he sounded amazing. And The Cure put on literally just one hell of a show last night. So glad that we went. My wife and I were contemplating blowing it off because that's what we do. We contemplate blowing off everything we commit to, like anybody at this age. And man, am I thrilled that I went down there and saw the show. And the audience, the crowd, the show sold out like right away. I mean, the place was packed, and it was great. It was like a ton of people I don't know, but that I knew. You know, like so many folks my age, 40s, 50s, 60s, who go all the way back to the early 80s with The Cure. It was just a fantastic mood, vibe. The sound was incredible. Everything about it. And I'm sitting there going, I got to get to some more concerts, man.
Yeah. No, it was cool. I don't know. I got like weirdly obsessed with them in college, and I remember just walking around campus a lot, listening to them, and they're so light and airy, and it was just so nice to listen to, and his voice is very compelling. Yeah.
Just heartbreaking, beautiful lyrics, moody as hell. Get Out. The light show was great. It was an exquisite performance, and I'm thrilled to have seen the show. It was great to hang out with Candace and a few listeners. Some of the contest winners were up there in the old KQ suite with us. It was a good time was had by all.
Yeah, it was really funny. So Dick, one of the listeners who won Cure tickets from us, he was like, "You're still here?" And I was like, well, Steve's here. I'm not going to leave before Steve like a loser. So, and then I turn around and you're gone. And I'm like, all right,
well, yeah.
See you later.
Well, there came a point when it was like, okay, I've heard Boys Don't Cry enough in my lifetime, and I know it'll be exciting to hear it, but then I'm going to be trying to leave with 10,000 other people. So it's time to get the heck on out of Dodge, as they say. So it was a great gig. My buddy Reeves Gabrels, the guitar, he's been in the band since 2010, I believe. Blistering guitar solos when he took them. They were far in between, but boy, they were great. Going to grab a cup of coffee with my man a little later today. I'm excited to see him.
Oh, nice.
Didn't have time to get together yesterday. Anyway, all that to say, for everyone who went to the show, I'm sure you, like me and Candace, well, anyone else that went's not awake yet. We're the only two.
Yeah.
But man, it was absolutely fantastic. I saw a story about family secrets. Every family's got secrets. Any family worth talking about has secrets. I mean, come on, let's not kid ourselves. And ranging from the darkest of the dark to just good old-fashioned kind of family secrets. There's one that I actually have. Well, long story short, I've been making a chili for years. Okay, my son loves it, and it's not from scratch. It's just a box. It's some brand. I just found it at the grocery store once. Tried it. My kid loved it, and that became the chili we make for football games on Sundays in the fall. That's what we do on Sundays. He had a buddy come over. These guys are at the time 4th and 5th grade, and just loves his friend had one bowl and decided it was the best food he'd ever had. And my son's like, yeah, my dad makes this special chili. And then his friend, this kid's name was Nash. He's like, oh my God, this is the best food I've ever had. And then a legend was born of Mr. Gorman's chili, and I've carried that thing for years. It just, I get up early and I cut the onions and mince the garlic myself. None of that's true. It's just a packet. I just throw it in there. And it finally blew up on me when these guys were in high school. My son knew, but he just thought it was funny. When the original friend came over and he just saw all the boxes on the counter. He's like, what is this? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I've been doing this for years. And I was reminded of that because in this article I read, a woman posted her grandmother recently died, and for years, literally for like 2 generations, she was known for this incredible gravy. She had a catering business, and everyone loved her gravy. They loved everything, but the gravy was this, the gravy was that. The grandmother had a near-death experience and decided, I need to share all my recipes, and she shared all of them with her family except the gravy. Nothing Everything's open except the gravy. After she passed away, her granddaughter was going through the pantry and found a bucket of KFC gravy mix.
Oh, there you go.
For years, her catering business was propped up with KFC gravy mix as a base, and it was a huge scandal in this town, of course, as you can imagine.
Yeah, one of the great gravies of all time, however, I think.
It's very true.
Yeah.
And I read another story about a guy's grandfather died, and the family was contacted by the federal government saying, we'd like to do a state funeral. He was a colonel in the military. So, of course, they're like, yeah, of course, we'll do that. They went all out. There was a procession. A lot of government officials showed up. Retired senators, people from the Defense Department. They're all like, what? Just our dad. He's a retired colonel. Hadn't had much to do with anything. It turned out he was a major player in the OSS during the Second World War and then the early days of the CIA.
Oh, wow.
And he had never told his family any of it. They just thought he was a regular, military. Your colonel's a big deal.
Yeah.
But anyway, it just got me thinking about all these things that you just never really know, even the people, especially the people you grew up living with.
Yeah.
There's so many family secrets. And in my family, they're all just, my brother took my bike out and it got stolen and it was confiscated by the police. He didn't tell me for years. We don't have anything that shook our family to the foundations. I guess I should be kind of relieved about that. But I read these stories and I'm like, man, we're just boring.
Well,
Everything just went according to plan for the most part.
Nothing wrong with that. The only one I can think of in my family was, when my brother and I were, I think I was like 7 or 8 or something like that. We burned the family barn to the ground, playing with matches up in the hayloft.
Holy.
Burned that sucker to the ground, and of course it was in one of these old red barns. Picture it in your mind.
Yeah.
That's the one we had, and they blamed it on an electrical issue. Well, it must have been an electrical issue. Okay, that's what they blamed everything on. The insurance paid out. Chris and I decided, and Dad did. I remember after that came out and said, you boys didn't have anything to do with that, did you? No, Dad. Okay, sounds good. And Dad was willing to take that with them. Fast forward 20 years, my brother is reborn. One of these Iowa evangelicals, reborn. Okay. And one of the things you have to do, kind of like in a 12-step program, I suppose, is to confess your sins. So he calls Dad and tells him, and my dad's reaction is, Christ, I don't want to know about that. Why the hell are you telling me now? And my reaction was, I'm not reborn.
Yeah.
Why are you pulling me into this, you little sucker?
Smokes.
Still in the darkness.
Yeah, that was one that hung out there for a while.
Yeah, it's one thing to cleanse your conscience, but there was an insurance payout.
Yeah, I don't know what
something they call fraud.
Statute of limitations on that would be, but
we'll find out.
Thankfully, I've told the story on the air before. Yeah. I think we're in the clear. I don't know.
How about this one? Someone wrote, my grandma didn't drive. I thought she couldn't. It was never discussed. One day, no one would take me to the store. I said to my grandma, will you take me? And she goes, yeah, I can drive. And my cousin said, my grandma can't drive. She said, no, I can. They just don't let me. The story, grandma had been a driver for bootleggers during Prohibition. She was such a successful driver. She was, her license was suspended after her umpteenth arrest for bootlegging liquor.
That's
badass. She was actually a tremendous driver who was told never again because she was running hooch across state lines back in the day.
Oh, I would have Grandma out behind the wheel as quickly as I could.
Can you imagine your wheelman as your grandma?
Yeah, no, but that would be cool.
You'd come up with?
Ma Barker.
That's what I'm saying. It's like we didn't have anything to do with it. Sir, that's my grandmother you're asking for her driver's license. Please.
I you bet your ass I can drive.
Yeah, show some respect, officer. That's my grandmother.
That's cool.
Yeah, your grandmother's, we have a nickname for her, the Razor. I mean, what are you kidding me?
Right. Oh, that's cool. That's very cool. Now I wonder if anyone has any cool family secrets they want to divulge. Come on, I threw mine out there. And that one has illegal implications. If you want to share with us this morning, of course, we'd love to hear it on the Maple Grove Lock and Safe Talk and Text line 651-989-ROCK. I'm sure Candace is posting something on KQ's Facebook page even now. And it's Movie Review Friday with Mike Evans at 6:30. One time, David Lee Roth was asked why he only writes songs about sex, drugs, and fast cars. And that's when he realized he'd never actually written a song about fast cars. So he sat down and wrote the song we have coming up next. Hang tight.
The KQ Morning Show is back, and we always want to hear from you. Call or text 651-989-ROCK. 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Friday. I almost said Thursday. Somebody was watching The Cure till late at night. Friday, June 9th. Ooh, baby. That's something about Friday makes me think we might get a movie review or two. If you have forgotten what it's like to experience a movie, if you just keep watching them, how about this? Go experience one at a Marcus Theater. All new releases can be viewed for $5 on a Tuesday. $5 Tuesdays, pretty spectacular. Dream Lounge Comfort, Cinema Sound. Go get your tickets right now at marcustheaters.com. From a fortified bunker deep in the Bolivian rainforest, Mike Evans joins us. Good morning, Mike. There he goes.
It's Donald Duck Day.
It's Donald Duck Day?
How about that?
I had no idea. How about that, indeed?
That's wonderful. Yeah, how about that?
Is that you, or is that a voice-activated
AI.
No, it's not.
Man, that is-
My favorites. Yeah, how about that? I want.
It is Donald Duck Day, and I've been doing Donald Duck for years, so there you go.
you got your 10,000 hours in clearly, brother.
There you go. Hey, got some love nuggets for you today, Steve. Starting off, the 3-year, for 3 years, Halle Berry, 56. And Music Master Van Hunt, 53. I love Van Hunt. Do you like him?
First time I've ever heard his name, I believe.
Oh, does a lot of jazz. Has been quietly dating for 3 years, and now friends say there could be a wedding sometime between now and the end of the year.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, Halle Berry, yeah. Okay, so Emily Blunt and her husband, John Krasinski, say being actors is never fair. It's heartbreaking. It's disappointing. It's just not real life. And because of that, John says that he hopes that their 2 daughters, Hazel, who is 9, and Violet, who is 7, never get into show business. John Krasinski jokingly says he kind of hopes that Hazel, his daughter, becomes an auto mechanic and Violet becomes a plumber.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, one sure way to make sure they don't go down that path is to let the world know you hope they don't go down that path.
Exactly. It is Movie Review Friday, as Steve has mentioned, and we start off with the 7th installment of the Transformer franchise. This one is Rise of the Beast, produced by Michael Bay and Steven Spielberg. It's the Autobots and the Maximals working together in this brainless, bombastic fiasco. However, it is a Transformer movie. That's what you would expect. Voices of Peter Dinklage and Ron Perlman and Pete Davidson add absolutely nothing to this movie, but I really love this scenery, New York City with the Twin Towers in Paris, France, and all the action that goes on. I mean, let's face it, it's a Transformer movie about robots and war, and what they do a good job. Rated PG-13, 2 hours long, 3 stars.
Oh, fair enough. 3.
Yeah, 3 stars. Are you a fan of the Transformers?
No.
No, I'm not either,
Couldn't
really.
care less.
But what they do, it's entertaining.
Sure.
It's entertaining.
Sure.
Oh, speaking of Pete Davidson, so I don't know if you saw his comments after he said he wasn't interested in adopting a dog that was scheduled to be euthanized. Instead, spent $3,000 for a puppy at a puppy mill.
Okay.
But he went into this. Well, I can't even say what he said, but it involves an F. It involves another word. It involves doing something to part of his body.
Oh,
and
I think PETA called him out, right? Isn't that what happened?
PETA called him out, and he just went off. I mean, he went crazy. And some of his friends, like Ariana Grande and John Mayer and Kate Beckinsale, said, just relax. That's going a little overboard. I mean, he just went into a rant and rave. It was just vulgar, filthy.
Wow.
Pete, relax.
If Ariana Grande and John Mayer have a problem with what you're doing, well, actually, you're probably doing something
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
You gotta think about it.
Movie news. I know you're going to be excited, Steve. You can take it to the bank. Dana Carvey and Mike Myers will definitely do Wayne's World 3.
Oh,
Wow.
my gosh.
Holy
How about
smokes.
Started pre-production meetings this week.
Oh, wow. I wonder if they'll have a version of Bohemian Rhapsody sung by Rami Malek in the film
that
this
would
time.
be perfect.
Keep it modern.
I didn't know there was a 2.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, actually.
Who's the best?
Well, everybody is talking about the NBA playoffs and the Stanley Cup. The new rules to speed up Major League Baseball with the timer on the pitchers and limits on pickoff plays and more. Attendance for the league overall is up 9% from last year.
Not surprised.
And St. Louis, Philadelphia, Houston, Baltimore, Toronto, Milwaukee, their attendance is up 17 to 23% from last year.
Yeah, it's long overdue, in my opinion.
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, boy, those 3.5-hour games are enough already. Much more exciting. Congratulations to the women's softball team. Oklahoma winning again last night, which I thought was kind of interesting. And if you're like me and you're kind of jonesing for football, are you jonesing for football?
Always.
The CFL started this weekend.
Yeah, but I like football.
You like football, real football?
Yeah, I like football.
Yeah, I hear you.
I like the way they play it south of the border. If you feel me.
I agree. And what is up with 3 downs and then you punt? What's up with that?
We talked about the other day. The end zone is like 1.5 miles long. The 55-yard line. It's just so wacky what they did to this great game.
I know. You would think that he would adopt American football since it's so much more popular, but. And I'll end on a sad note. I hate to do it, but another week passed, Steve, and still no word on Jamie Foxx. And the suspense goes one more notch.
Oh, boy.
Another week, we still know nothing.
Yeah, that is actually, I think I said this to you last week. At first, I was like, leave the guy alone. But at this point, yeah, it's pretty surprising. I would imagine there's it's not good news when someone of that magnitude goes underground for this long.
Yeah, it's been months. But to pick up your spirits,
All right.
it's Aloha Friday. No work till Monday. We're going to play Day Aloha Friday. You like that, Donald?
Oh, yeah, that's wonderful.
Lily Yokalani, Lani, Ani, Okela, Ku, and a cock and a ock, and hooey, 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 ho.
Aloha.
Man.
That was pretty
The
good.
truth is, if I had a Donald Duck that was that strong, I'd bust it out all the time, too.
Yeah,
I wouldn't wait for Donald Duck Day. I'd do it on Daffy Duck Day and see what happens. We were talking earlier about some family secrets. Zep blew my mind. He and his brother, the little South Dakota arsonists that they are, accidentally burned down the family barn.
Whoops.
Your brother came clean many, many, many years later. Kenneth, I think we have a caller who wanted to share a story.
Steve from Waseca.
Good morning, Steve.
Good morning.
What do you got for us, brother?
Well, my brother and I were about 9 or 10 years old, and we really didn't break into the warehouse because the door was open. We got into this warehouse, and there was an elevator. We went up to the second floor, and we went up the elevator and got out of the elevator, and we're going to try to cover our tracks and take the elevator back down to the first floor so nobody knew we were there.
Yeah.
Well, my brother was watching the elevator go down by sticking his head over the top of the gate, and the part of the elevator that was going down caught his head on the frame and pushed his front teeth back into his head. And I'm controlling the elevator, and of course
Not very
stopped
well.
and backed up, pulled his head back out, and he's blood everywhere. We run out of the warehouse and go home, and I had to go back the next day and clean up the blood in the warehouse.
Yeah, you
so I'm
did.
10 years old, trying to clean up all that blood, scared to death. And we told our parents that we were coming home from the lake, and he tripped on some railroad tracks and hit his teeth on the railroad tracks so that they didn't know we were in the warehouse.
Gosh. That is, how old are you guys?
Probably 9 or 10 years old.
Oh, man, that is brutal.
It wasn't fun.
No, I guess not. I mean, hey, better him than you, I guess. At least there's that silver lining.
Does he have those fake buck teeth now?
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet he does.
Everyone knows someone who has 2 fake front teeth. I know about 4 people.
Oh, yeah.
that
Hey,
have
Steve,
those,
thank you for the call, brother. We appreciate it. My brother Jim had those 2 front teeth, the main choppers, they were elbowed out in a basketball game.
Oh, yeah.
One just direct hit, and they were goners. And before he got the permanent ones, he had the fake piece that he would remove in the middle of conversation just to get
On purpose.
you just immediately drop 31 IQ points when you remove those front two teeth.
Yes, sir.
That's a good look. Isn't it?
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
All right, we got to look back. I believe, if memory serves, it is time for a history lesson.
I want to learn about sports. I want to learn about music. Well, you've come to the right place, monsieur.
You have come to the right place, mister. It is June the 9th, and on this day in 1946, Ted Williams of the Boston Red Sox hit the longest home run ever struck that stayed in Fenway Park. He hit it to right field, deep into the bleachers. The ball came down and landed on the head of a 56-year-old construction engineer before bouncing off. The guy didn't even see it coming. The sun was in his eyes. He was sitting there enjoying himself. The man's name was Joseph Boucher. But the blast measured at 502 feet. From home plate to that gentleman's head.
Wow.
Pretty incredible considering it came off of a changeup pitch, a slow pitch. He still hit it 502 feet. They replaced all the seats in Fenway in the 70s, and to mark that position, they put a red seat in that very place, which to this day, there's one red seat in Fenway Park.
Nice.
You can see it before anyone shows up, and that marks the place where Ted Williams just about took out a man with a 500-foot home run. On this day in 1987, Magic Johnson took the most famous baby hook shot of all time, beating the Celtics in Boston Garden with his own version of Kareem's skyhook. Magic called it the junior skyhook. After the game, Larry Bird said, you're not shocked when you lose to the Lakers on a skyhook, but when it's Magic Johnson, well, that's just the worst thing ever. Those Celtics-Lakers days in the 80s were pretty great.
Asking for some trouble this morning with this KQ Facebook post. Got people all fired up. It's not a family secret if you tell it on the radio. You don't have to post that. That's been posted several times already. Getting a little personal now. Oh, yeah.
Oh, we got the Friday testes going.
Yeah, got the Friday testes.
We're all testy.
The testes have dropped. We're talking KQ family secrets this morning on the KQ show. 651-989-ROCK. That's the Maple Grove Lock and Safe Talk and Text line. If you're bold enough to share, if you've got the guts. Maybe you're already morning drinking and feel like getting something off your chest. We'd love to hear about it as we're trucking along here. Hang tight.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Friday, June the 9th, or also known as National Sex Day, I've just discovered.
Hey, now.
Hey, wow. We heard from Mike Evans that it's Donald Duck Day, and now it's also National Sex Day. There's so many days that you got to start doubling up. We got to start what's that? The double back beast. You got to start, add. No day is just one thing. Like you had chocolate ice cream day the other day, and I think it was right there next to 4-leaf clover day, or so. There's always a day.
Yeah.
But so between Donald Duck Day and National Sex Day, I'll take National Sex Day.
Yeah.
Well, you could probably mix them together, and just be creative.
Don't wear pants like Donald Duck might lead to.
That's very true. That's very true.
Or if you like webbed feet.
I do.
Well, okay, fair enough.
I do.
Learning.
Wow, the things you learn in a minute on this show.
Yeah, for sure.
Donald Duck doesn't wear pants. We knew that, but Candace liking webbed feet, that's a new one.
I mean, does that tie into sex somehow? I'm trying to figure that one out. Okay, sure. Yeah.
I saw
I'm thinking about it.
Okay, well, think about this. Speaking of National Sex Day, a list is in front of me. 7 sex ideas that are actually better in theory that don't really work in practice, if you will.
Is webbed feet on there?
No, I don't. Not yet. We can add to it. We can certainly add to this list. Number 1, using mirrors. Mirrors seem cool because you get to watch. It says, but instead of noticing how great your partner looks, you'll just analyze all your flaws.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. For the last 35 years, I'm uncomfortable looking at myself, the faces I make when I play drums. Okay, I have really ugly drum guy face. That's enough for me. I can only imagine what's happening when sex is in place. So yeah, no need for mirrors with me. Thank you very much.
Certainly not after 30. I mean, I remember kind of getting away with it, intoxicated as a young man. But then you got a little older. It actually wasn't a mirror. It was, hey, let's record this when that was all happening.
Intoxicated on your own reflection? What are you saying?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Well, if you had to be there, Steve. But yeah, then you get a good look and you're like, wow, I really got to. You know what? In the middle of sex is not the time you want to be thinking, geez, I got to start knocking out some sit-ups and lay off the cookies before bed.
Yeah, if there's a moment to truly be present, one would hope it's while. I'll use the word matriculating. Let's just use that as our daily euphemism for National Sex Days. Shower sex. Also can be overrated. Now, it can be great, but it's also, you've got limited space. The major concern there is, of course, someone slipping and falling. That again, after 30, you start to think of those things.
Right, and then you try to pick it up again after here, just apply some pressure on your head wound. I'm just about there.
Yeah, right.
That one only, I think, works when you're just getting in the shower to have sex. And then, of course, it's what the point. But if you're getting in the shower to take a shower together and it turns into sex,
right?
That's when it doesn't work because someone's always out of the water. I don't want to be the person standing there shivering while she's standing there in the water. It just
right.
You said, Candace.
Well, I was wondering at what point do you have sex first and then you wash yourself and then you have sex, or do you do it together?
It just depends on your personal neuroses. I think
there are rules, aren't
there? But to your point, Zep, that's why that's the only time that works is if you are in a hotel that's got one of those shower heads that it comes out of the walls and the ceiling and if everyone's completely wet at all times, okay, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Car sex, I'm 6'3". Stop it. It's never even been a factor. It just
that's
doesn't
the
work.
best. The car makeout when you're younger.
The car makeout's one thing, but actually, car makeout, when I go right back to first car, first time driving, first girlfriend, it was a Datsun 210. Again, I'm 6'3". There's only so much that could happen.
Yeah, you need the van sex, but... they used to have the bench seats and the whole thing. It was almost like there was some thought put into that. But, although the lay-down seat, it can be done. But, there again, if you, it's not like, honey, let's run out to the car and have sex. It's, hey, you know what, you're here, we have to have sex in the car or in the dirt. What do you prefer?
Right. It's kids doing, getting a little bit of freedom, getting some independence, finding the only place you can feel safe and risque. Often that is the car. Should have. Now that I'm thinking about it, of course, the simple solution was, I had friends with pickup trucks. Why wasn't I just, hey, can I borrow your truck tonight? They would have known. Beach sex, granted, that speaks for itself. Sand all over the place.
Everywhere.
No thanks.
Everywhere.
Yeah, literally everywhere.
Yeah.
I can remember, and by the way, when I think about sand on the beach, I'm traumatized from a family trip where the Gorman family had a van for a brief period of time, and we took it to the beach. And as we were getting back in after a day at the beach, my dad was like, "Now don't get any sand in the van."
Okay.
And we're all like, "What? What?
The beach?
How is this possible? What are you talking about?" And he was explaining that before you get in, you can kick your shoes or your feet on the side of the van, but we got to limit the amount of sand in the van. And we did our best, and we still got a good solid half bucket worth of sand in there. And he was angry for days.
Yeah, just putting on your shoes after you've walked out of the sand is a thing. Like between the toes, you think you've got it all, and then you put your shoes on and go, no, there's still sand for days.
There's a moment in everyone's life when you recognize you're standing somewhere, usually at a rented cabin up in the mountains, and you look at that hot tub and go, that's kind of gross. I think that's just a petri dish for germs of all sorts, right? When I get into a hot tub now, I literally think to myself, please, I want it to smell like chlorine. I want it to smell like bleach. Because and of course, there's also a time in life when you see a hot tub and you think, oh man, it'd be great to get in that hot tub and have a little and then I just think to myself, now, of course, no, we'll both come out with the whooping cough.
All went up north, couples deal. We got there first.
Yeah.
Hot tub. Yeah. Just started dating. Honeymoon, you get it, right? Boom, in the hot tub we end up. And I don't think we had a plan let's get in the hot tub and have sex. But we got in the hot tub, and that's what it led to.
Sure.
And then we get out, and I did have the thought that can't possibly drain that thing and, wipe it down and bleach it out and refill it. You're just kind of like,
Right.
And so then we decided to go into town to get ice. We come back, and every couple has now arrived, and guess where they're all sitting? In the hot tub.
Well, it's so full of chemicals, though. So
yeah, right.
Is it, though?
That's what I told
Is
myself.
it, though?
Yeah.
I don't think hot tubs are. I don't think hot tubs are.
Yeah, they are. You have to maintain them. We have
Really?
one at home. So. Yeah.
Oh, well, then you'd know.
Yep. Yeah, I guess I would.
Well,
You are correct.
Talk about burying the lead. Tony's the sex and hot tub
Let's
expert.
hear all about
apparently.
it. I'm sure Rachel will be fine with you
I have
airing this
videos.
out.
Family secrets.
I can hear that wah-wah pedal. Hammock. Anybody ever trying a rope hammock?
Dangerous.
Yeah, no
Dangerous.
kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's like the kind of sex you have when you're when you can't, when you want to, it's like if you're in a room with thin walls and you're being as quiet as you possibly can, and like you just want to make sure no one knows. Going back to the younger days, like you're at a friend's house or something. That's what it's like, because any sudden movement and you're both just flying right out of that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, the Mile High Club on an airplane, just like the car for me, it's like I haven't been in an airplane bathroom yet that even makes that a consideration, much less a pursuit of mine. Anybody? Airplane sex?
I've not checked that one off the list. Just never gone there. And it's not, it's never really been on the list. You're right.
Candace?
No.
Oh,
after you throw up in there, it's not really a...
That's the thing.
Well, there's chemicals in there, so you're fine.
Sure. That's exactly right. Any sort of anywhere where you're out in nature, it's always like exciting. But literally, like we talk about the mosquitoes here. It's bad enough when I'm wearing clothes. You get out in the woods. You're out on a hike sometimes. I've had the old, you're in the middle of a beautiful hike in the woods, and you're thinking, man, this is nature. We're animals. This is the place. And then right away, I'm like, yeah, there's like centipedes here. No, I'm good.
Oh yeah,
That's me.
I've come out of the woods. Even on the one time doing the beach shoreline thing up north.
Right.
Cross Lake, I believe it was, and chigger season.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah. Completely covered, head to toe, both of us. And chiggers, and we were trying to be secretive, like we weren't seeing each other. We weren't cheating, but we just didn't want anybody to know that we were hooking up in this group of friends.
Sure.
But we were the only two with chiggers the next day, completely covered and head to toe.
Absolutely brutal. National Sex Day. Everybody have a great day. That's our way of saying go get you some.
Go get you some. Yeah, don't let this be a buzzkill.
Zepp, you mentioned earlier in the show, the first album you bought was Kiss Alive 2.
Right on.
Man, my first Kiss album as well. There was Destroyer was in the house, Rock and Roll Over was in the house, but they weren't mine. They were my brother's. But Kiss Alive 2, I proudly own that bad boy. And the gatefold picture when you open it up, still one of the great all-time. You could listen to all three sides of Kiss Alive 2. And then the side 4 was some new studio releases that no one ever heard once.
Right. Filler.
But you could listen to the first 3 sides and just stare at a still photograph through 15 songs. I did it over and over and over. One of the great rock photos of all time. I showed that gatefold. I took that album to my dad under the misguided notion that I could explain to him and he would grasp how cool Kiss was. I literally was like, Dad, check this out. You're not going to believe this. And I opened it up, and my dad took one look at that photo. It's from the open of the set when Kiss is on the platforms. They're lowering down, and there's fire everywhere all around them. And my dad took one look at it, and he goes, don't they know hairspray's flammable? That was it. Right away, he immediately susses out there's a lot of hairspray on those 4 weirdos, and they're surrounded by fire, and he knew it would just cut me off at the knees, and that's exactly what it did.
So that's such a dad play right there.
Crusher.
Dads back then lived for those moments for their kids to go, Dad, isn't this cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just only took one line, one grimace and one line just to put out your fire.
That was it. Hey, famously on that album, Beth, Peter Criss's, the ballad Beth, you know, and the drummer would come out and sit on the stool and sing the song. And I always thought it was hilarious. when Kiss replaced Peter Criss with a new drummer, the new drummer came out and sang Beth too. It was like it's not Peter Criss's song; it's the drummer of Kiss's song.
Yeah,
It was
freaking cat.
It was just weird to me. It was like he's not an understudy. I guess he was. They looked at it like a Broadway play, just playing the part of Peter Criss today. Several guys named Eric over the years. I might take a shot at Beth on the KQ Karaoke Cruise.
Oh my God, I would die.
Back,
I would die.
and I will sit down and I will allow you to put grease paint on my face if I do this, Candace.
Are you
Make me
serious?
the cat. No, of course I'm not.
I know how to do it. I've
I'm sure you
done
do.
many a Kiss faces in my
All right,
my
Tony
day.
and I will hold him down.
The KQ Karaoke Cruise happens a week from tonight. Holy smokes. We're going to cruise down the St. Croix River. All of us will be belting out our favorite tunes. You can certainly join us. We're going to be with Stillwater Riverboats. You can get tickets at 92kqrs.com. It's a night of food, drinks, and music, sponsored by our good friends at JTR Roofing. There will be prizes given away for karaoke performances. The top prize, tickets to see Billy Joel and Stevie Nicks November 10th at the U.S. Bank Stadium. There's also a custom Billy Stevie football and a very fancy trophy. So a week from tonight, join us for the KQ Karaoke Cruise, 92kqrs.com. Pick up some tickets. We'll have a good time.
Right now on the Maple Grove Lock and Safe Talk and Text line, give us a call, 9 and 2, playing Canadian or Not. 651-989-ROCK. Almost made a very distasteful wildfire joke there. 651-989-ROCK. Callers 9 and 2. And Practical Jokers. Tickets live next Thursday at the Target Center. Prize obviously provided by the Target Center. 651-989-ROCK. Dial up. Good luck. Hang tight.
92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Friday, June the 9th. Thursday, June the 15th, the Impractical Jokers will be at the Target Center. Bunch of funny guys from New York coming into town, and we would love to give away a couple of tickets to a listener so you can go and enjoy the Impractical Jokers in person at the Target Center this coming Thursday. And we have a game. Oh, boy, do we have a game. Tony, what is the game?
Let's do this.
Or not.
So what did we just get from Canada? Poor air quality via the wildfires.
Yeah.
So what do you get? Tickets to see Impractical Jokers live, playing Canadian or Not. We'll give you an item, and you spit back, is it Canadian or not?
It couldn't be any simpler.
True.
Wow, fair
True
enough.
dat.
Sounds like a winner to me. Let's see then. Candace, I believe we have two callers locked in, loaded, ready to play.
Yes, we have Gaius from St. Paul.
Gaius, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are you so far?
I'm doing great.
All right. I believe we've spoken to you before. I'm happy to have you back on the show.
Indeed, it's a pleasure.
All right. Canadian or not, you're trying to win tickets to see the Impractical Jokers. Are you ready, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Fair enough. Tony?
Gosh, you guys are so polite to each other. The hell?
Well, it's in keeping with the theme.
Yes. Yeah, that's very true. Yes. All right. Gaius number one. Actor, funny man. Now, not as funny. Mike Myers. Canadian or not?
Canadian.
Yes. Yes, sir. You are correct.
Bam.
Well done. Number two, poutine.
Not Canadian.
Oh, goodness gracious. French fries with cheese and gravy.
Best thing to come out of Canada ever.
Man, no kidding.
It's all right.
It's okay.
Regroup.
You're still batting 500. We're good here.
Number three, Neil Young. Canadian or not?
Canadian, eh?
Yeah.
Bang.
Big comeback.
Neil going on the road this year acoustically. I'd pay for that.
Oh, nice. Number four, the Giza Pyramids.
Not Canadian.
Nothing Canadian about that.
Yeah, even I took a second. Wait a minute. What? No, that's not possible.
Number five, Jackie Chan.
Canadian.
Ooh.
All right, Jackie Chan is not.
Right.
Gaius was thinking that was the trick question.
Yeah, he belongs to the
thinking
world.
He had to be Canadian. Darn.
Don't overthink it, Gaius.
Canadian, Cantonese, maybe? Close.
Yeah.
All right, your last one. Jeff Foxworthy, Canadian or not?
Not Canadian.
All right. We missed a couple. Did very
you
well.
might be a Canuck if. Gaius, you went 4 for 6. There's nothing wrong with that, sir. A fine
God,
batting
thank you.
average. All right, so hang on for a moment. Let's see how your competition does. Candace, who is that competition?
Alan from Nope. My bad.
How are things in Nope?
Isn't that the capital of Alaska?
No,
Canada.
Alan ghosted me, so he's not playing the game anymore. Jeff from Pine City.
Jeff saving the day from Pine City. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, sir.
Are you ready to play Canadian or not?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry? Okay, Tony, take it away.
Number 1, temperature measured in Celsius, Canadian or not?
Not.
It is.
Ooh, they do. They go with the big C up there.
That's all right. Shaky start, but you can make the big comeback. Number 2, ketchup chips. Is that Canadian or not?
Ketchup chips. No.
I mean, if it's lame, it's Canadian.
I don't know, sound kind of good.
Wait,
might be.
ketchup chips. That's a new one on me.
They love to snack
Is
on
that
their
exactly
ketchup
what
chips.
is it a ketchup flavored potato chip or is it a chip made of ketchup?
Well,
Thrilling.
same thing. I
What's the
guess.
difference? Yeah. Wow.
They dig it.
Man. All right.
Number 3, Vikings tight end T.J. Hawkinson, Canadian or not?
We're on a roll. Let's say no.
That is correct, sir.
All right. The rally begins. Number 4, the Dead Sea Scrolls.
No.
Nice. Good
Alan's
call.
in the comfort zone now, baby.
Number 5, Ryan Gosling. Actor. Stud.
He's kind of wishy-washy anyway. I'll say yeah.
Wishy-washy.
I didn't know he was
dare you.
Canadian.
Is that good?
Ryan, I always confuse him and some other guy. Aren't there 2 Ryans?
Adams. I'm kidding.
There's someone else. There's someone I always think of, and I always hear it's not Ryan. Maybe it's Bradley Cooper, which is not a Ryan. I don't know.
Ryan
Anyway,
Gosling, great in Crazy Stupid Love. If you ever see that, a fantastic rom-com. One of my faves. Just throwing it out there.
Steve Carell? That one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. That's
Love it.
Ryan Gosling. Okay, got
Yes,
it.
sir. Handsome,
All right,
handsome
Alan.
bloke.
Alan, you are 3 for 5. This is to put this game into overtime, sir. Good luck.
All right, your last one. The Geico Gecko Lizard, Canadian or not?
I'm sorry. Could you say that again, please?
The Geico Gecko Lizard from the Geico commercials.
No.
Correcto.
Wow, Alan comes roaring back to
Let's go with Jeff instead of Alan, though.
Oh, yeah. No, it's Jeff.
Oh, it is
What now?
Jeff. Wait, who
This
is
is
it?
Jeff.
This is Jeff. It was not Alan. I apologize.
Let's
Alan
just start all
ghosted
over.
me.
Alan ghosted. This is Jeff. And Jeff,
This is Jeff.
I apologize. I'm writing it down. Is that Jeff or Geoff?
We're going to go with Jeff.
All right. Are you Canadian?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Gaius, you're not Canadian either, I'm assuming, right? I want to make sure we're
No,
not
but
dealing.
my grandmother lived in Duluth.
Okay. Close enough. All right, so guys, you both went, Gaius and Jeff both went 4 for 6, so we've got some sort of tiebreaker, Tone.
Yes, it's a very difficult one. 1 ounce of tasty Canadian bacon has how many milligrams of sodium?
Oh, Gaius, how many milligrams of sodium in what?
Canadian bacon, you know.
500.
Okay.
Gaius says 500 milligrams of sodium in a slice of Canadian bacon. Jeff, not Alan, what is your guess?
Well, I'm not going to listen to Alan. Let's go with 350.
Ooh.
He says 350. Tony?
Math wizards will have to help us out here. The answer is 395. 395
I think 350 takes that
350
one.
takes the bacon.
Yeah.
Oh, that takes the bacon right home, that Canadian bacon, that good thick slice. All right, Gaius, thank you for calling, brother. It's always a pleasure to chat with you. I'm sorry 500 was a little too far away from the right answer. Jeff, you are the winner today, sir. You've got 2 tickets to see Impractical Jokers Thursday, June 15th at the Target Center, prize provided by Target Center. Congratulations.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you got it. Have a good time.
KS want a backup prize, though, like Sham tickets, so that'll be sweet.
Oh, awesome. Right on. Everybody's a winner.
I know those Impractical Jokers come through town from time to time, almost yearly with this show. I've not been. I have enjoyed the show. My buddy has never watched it, but was drugged there by a gal pal. And he's addicted. He said he'll never miss another show again. Still hasn't watched the television show, he said, but the stage show is apparently hilarious and wild.
My brother and I are going. We're very excited.
Awesome.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
It is.
Just sort of bragging about going out on Thursday nights. Like she could do it anytime she wants.
Thursdays are a hot night.
Candace and I, along with a few other folks, took in The Cure last night. That was Thursday night hijinks of the highest order.
Yeah.
Man,
I think she's still drunk.
Yeah, well, she's still drunk. I'm overly caffeinated. I'm still on a Cure high, which will come crashing down by about 10 a.m. this morning. But right now, man, I'm still living the good life thinking about that. Canadian or not, inspired by the Canadian wildfires, which have put smoke all over the east. I did see this morning, New York, a big clearing out of the smoke. It's much better today. The numbers, what's the bad air quality number? You got to get above like 275 or 250.
I was reading, don't quote me on this because my memory, especially when there are numbers, years involved, but I think somewhere around 190 it gets unhealthy for everyone. And I saw a 270 something. You said it was around 300.
They were over 300 2 days ago.
That's nuts.
This morning, under 100. So apparently some wind blew in New York's favor.
Yeah.
They're clearing it out right now. So people aren't seeing that orange haze quite like they were for a few days there. Right. But speaking of what you're seeing in the sky, quick question. Just going to throw it out there. Anybody seen a UFO? Anybody?
Yes.
Oh, well, fair enough.
Quick answer.
Tony, right with conspiracy guy Tony, we call him. This was when I say UFO, anything can be a UFO if you don't know what it is, I guess. I mean, I saw a bird the other day. I was like, I don't know what that is. That's an unidentified bird. But what did you see? And you have 19 seconds to convince me it was alien life. Go.
I've seen several, but I'm obsessed with that. I'm always on the hunt. This one, it looked like a giant star. Stared at it. It went out, turned into a revolving red light, started floating up into the sky, split into two, and they both disappeared. So you explain that to me, mister.
How long ago was this?
That's a few years ago, but I've seen several others.
Was this moments after riding Zepp's motorcycle into a brick wall?
Yes, it was right out of my own bedroom window.
Really?
Yeah.
Were you high?
I was not.
Were you drunk?
Not at that moment.
No, not at that moment. Yeah. So that's a legit... Tell me again. Tell me exactly what you just told me. I want to see if the words are all the same.
Thought it was a big bright star in the sky. I was taking astronomy at the time, so I was curious.
Right.
And it went out, and it turned into a revolving red light and started to spin, and then it raised up and split into two, and they both raised up again and disappeared.
So that's splitting into two.
That's the freaky part.
Yeah, I was willing to try and take a shot at guessing, but then it split into two.
Here's a question. Have you ever seen, you said several sightings.
Sure.
Have you ever had a sighting that you then saw other people mentioning as well? Like, did anyone else see one that you saw?
No, damn it. I've always been... Oh, no, there was one in downtown with my friend Russ. We saw one over the skyline of downtown Minneapolis.
Okay, I wasn't even necessarily meaning you were with someone. I mean, like, the next day, like, because there was a thing in Arizona probably 10 years ago where a ton of people all reported seeing the exact same thing.
The Phoenix Lights.
Well, I guess that's what it's called then.
I'm deep into
you're
this,
messing
Stephen.
with the master here.
I had no idea. We were just opening the door to a vault of all sorts of Tony goodness here.
Yeah, I'm down the rabbit hole real deep.
I've never seen something that I would classify as a UFO. I was, but I did. I was in New Zealand once, and a couple of my bandmates did late at night in a small town on the South Island, as pitch black as it can be.
Yeah.
Me and another guy in the band were actually we walked out of this little motel we were staying in, and we laid in the middle of a big football field to just stare at the stars.
Cool.
And it was, I mean, you could not see a thing and just saw nothing but shooting stars. If you're in a place that's that dark and with a clear sky, shooting stars are happening constantly, which I'd never experienced before. That same night, around the bend, a couple guys came around and they had the exact same story and the exact same thing they'd seen, which was what looked to be almost like a wildly spinning gyroscope in the sky that just hovered for a while and then blasted away at what seemed to be light speed.
All right.
So they were stoned. They were high as kites. but they saw but they described the same thing. So he's got to wonder.
Sure, their perception was heightened.
Yeah, no, I've never, but I don't sit around looking for these things. But I've never, I remember we were flying through just a quick pit stop in Nellis Air Force Base one time out to the National Training Center. They brought us in there. And a bunch of us sitting around outside at night. And, you get used to seeing the jets that are coming in and out and choppers and all that stuff. But we saw some rotating, revolving kind of lights that we've never really witnessed before. But then my buddy's like, we're not far from 51 probably. So it's probably just, a test or something like that.
Right.
I doubt, we didn't read about anything the next day. But no, I've never really had that UFO experience.
The best part of this whole segment was, Zepp, you just said, I don't go around looking for these things. And Tony said under his breath, I do.
I know he does.
Yeah, I do.
I know he does.
It's fantastic.
All right, well, teachers are off for the summer, right? Most of the teachers are out for the summer. They're probably already up and drinking right now, day drinking. I love this bar in Wisconsin called the Drunk Uncle. First of all, it's just a great name. But what do you hear about the beer specials they have for teachers this summer? You might want to hop the border and take a road trip. Hang tight.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Friday, June the 9th. Good morning.
Woo!
If you, like Candace Wheeler and I, enjoyed The Cure last night at the XL Energy Center over in St. Paul, then you, like Candace and I, are exhausted.
I don't know. I feel great.
Yeah, no, I'm actually feeling pretty good.
energized.
I'm feeling pretty good too. Who knew depressing, sad music could put you so full of life?
Well, that's the thing. It's like if you listen to the lyrics and the songs and everything, it is like that. But it sounds so lovey-dovey. I love it.
They came out and they knocked Pictures of You right out, number 2 on the set list. I could have gone. That was it. I heard Pictures of You and I was like, I can leave now if I have to. I stuck around. And I'll tell you something else. Literally, Cue the Waterworks. I mean, the song makes me tear up. I could have, if I had wanted to, I could have just been full on weeping. That song to me is so beautiful. And I just have wonderful memories of hearing it for the first time and thinking about pictures of girls I like. Man, it was just awesome. Absolutely fantastic. Everybody, we all have uncles out there. Some of us have uncles who drink. And what you tend to do is you call them Drunkle. Hey, Drunkle Larry. But there's a bar in Wisconsin called the Drunk Uncle.
Brilliant.
In honor of everyone's drunk uncle. We all have one, whether we know it or not. You have an uncle who's drunk at all times of the day. By uncle, I mean in the widest term of the word. I did my Uncle Larry. He wasn't a drunkard at all, but he would have a pop or two. But my parents had friends. And we weren't the kind of family that said, "Oh, this is your Uncle Jerry." It's like, no, it's my friend Jerry. But uncle figures in your life.
Yes.
And then at some point, around middle school, you start being aware of like, he wasn't being funny, he was drunk. Right. The first time you see adult people that you think are serious, real people drinking, it's always something. Anyway, all this to say, there's a bar called the Drunk Uncle. And speaking of people that you see drink for the first time and have your brains not suddenly make sense anymore, and you go, what am I seeing? The Drunk Uncle is offering free beer to teachers. Woo. Now, I don't mean a free beer to teachers. They're celebrating the summer, and they're saying thank you to our teachers with unlimited beer. There's no limit to the amount of free beer. There is no purchase necessary.
Just the one time or any old time?
Here's the post on their Facebook page. School is almost over, and we want to say thank you to all the teachers out there. This Friday, that's today, we will have free beer for you. Stop in, have a beer or 20, and share your horror stories of dealing with students and parents. We know there are some good ones out there.
Fantastic.
Holy smoke. This place is in West Allis, Wisconsin, the Drunk Uncle. And by the way, the horror stories. For every one student horror story, there's 5 parent horror stories.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, dealing with the parents, I think especially these days, we've talked about it before, there seemed to be some sort of unspoken camaraderie between teachers and parents. You didn't go home and say, I got in trouble at school today and the teacher disciplined me. Like maybe you might in some households today because your parents are going to rush to your defense unconditionally. No, back then it just meant that you got it twice.
Yeah,
well, what'd you do?
Course.
It sounds like you got another one coming there.
Of course.
So I think parents they probably clash with teachers even more so these days. I'm guessing.
I think it's nonstop. There's a great Kids in the Hall skit where one of the characters, it's like his 12th birthday, and his dad goes, "You're 12, so you're gonna do what I did on my 12th birthday and my dad on his. We're gonna drive out of town, and you're gonna watch me get drunk." and it's Bruce McCullough plays the dad, and he takes his 12-year-old kid away from his own birthday party, and he takes him out to the middle of nowhere, and he sits him on a rock, and he goes, "You're gonna watch me drink this entire bottle of scotch," and it's just it's a hilarious, horrifying skit based on real events in these people's lives. It's funny, but I would love it if a bunch of teachers from one school, if they were like, "We're going to show you who your teachers really are," and they invited the kids over, come to the drunk uncle and peer through the windows at 5:15 p.m. Can you imagine, like, a bunch of little kids, middle school kids seeing their teachers all just tying one on? It would be very jarring.
Yeah, it would be confusing, I think, probably. I didn't see a teacher drunk, which is odd in South Dakota, in a small town of Woolsey, South Dakota, that you wouldn't have run into a drunk teacher, but I don't think I did until I was much older and went back to Woolsey for a wedding, maybe in my late 20s, and then ran into a bunch of my teachers down at the American Legion, where you hold all the weddings in Woolsey, South Dakota. And the teachers were just drunk and having fun. And then I was celebrating it. Then I thought it was a pretty cool deal to get drunk with my teachers. But,
yeah, go figure.
Yeah, in high school, that would have been confusing to me.
It's always kind of jarring, too. I remember running into a teacher or two at a bar as, years later, and there's that moment where you're still like, I don't want them to see me drinking. And like, I forgot, I'm legal now.
And
you forget
drunk. I was in a physics class. I had two teacher drinking incidents, both in 10th grade. I was in a physics class, this guy, Mr. Hinson, who nobody really cared for. He was a little stiff around the edges, and he came in one morning. It was the first class of the day, like 8:05 class, and he was slurring his words.
In class.
And we're kind of, what's going on with him? Is he all right? And he had a beaker of water, and he put some pieces of zinc into, or maybe it was a beaker of some liquid, and he was dropping zinc into it so he could see what would happen. I guess it bubbled or turned purple or something. Who knows? But at one point, he put his hand into the beaker of water to retrieve the little pebbles of zinc. And because of water displacement, when he put his hand in there, the water all rushed over.
Yeah.
And he went, look at I'm making a mess. And that's when everybody realized, oh, my God, he's hammered.
Yeah.
And he just giggled and laughed, and he pulled his hand out, and he was looking at it, and it was wet. And then he looked at all of us, and you could see in his mind, he's like, I have now revealed that I'm drunk to the class.
That's hilarious.
And he just sat down and started giggling to himself. And one of the girls in our class, she just got up and left. And she came back to the room a second later, and then a minute after she walked in, the door opened, and another teacher said, Mr. Henson, can I see you for a minute? Like, she went and ratted him out in the office. And I remember thinking, like, man, this is going to be a day of stories.
Yeah.
Why are you blowing it out in first period?
You always have at least one do-gooder, right?
Yeah.
This isn't right.
He left. He never came back. Someone else came in and finished the class. He was gone for the day. And then word came out his marriage had busted up the weekend.
Oh, dramas.
Yeah, he just drank his way through the pain, like most of us have at one time in our lives.
One of the many reasons I could not be a teacher is because if you don't have that calling, if you really don't get, that buzz of that high of life out of teaching, then I would just quickly get bored with it or go, they don't even care, they don't want to learn anything, rude little bastards, and I would start day drinking during the job, and it would go right down the toilet pretty quickly.
That's my brother's a middle school science teacher in Knoxville, Tennessee. He's great. He loves it. He does, like you said, it's a calling.
Right.
And he didn't notice until his late 30s. I mean, he had bounced around and done a bunch of stuff, and then all of a sudden it hit him. And he's the kind of guy that when he said, I think I'm going to go be a teacher, everybody went, oh, yeah, of course. Like, it just made perfect sense. But no one had figured that out until he said those words. Later in my same sophomore year of high school, final week of school, my French teacher, Miss Jones, who everybody in the school was in love with, guys and girls. Like, the girls all wanted to be like her, and the guys all wanted to be with her. She was just the cool young teacher.
Yeah.
And she taught French. As I said, which just made it even more amazing to all of us. She took the French class to a pizza place for lunch to celebrate the end of the year. Like, we all went out to Mr. Gaddy's, and we had pizza, and she said, God, it's just so strange not to have a beer with pizza. And we said, go ahead, have a beer. And she was like, no, I can't do that. And we were like, we're not going to tell anybody, Miss Jones, have a beer. And she did. She ordered a beer, and this was in the early 80s, which this wasn't that far out of the realm of, like, this wasn't like it would be now. But still, it was enough because we said we won't tell anybody. It was like only 12 or 13 kids, and we all thought she was so cool, and we loved that she was taking us out for pizza anyway. But she had one beer, drove the van back to school without incident, and the next day, of course, someone ratted her out. Someone said Miss Jones had a beer.
Of course.
Word went down.
Scandalous.
Final day of school. We had the graduation that night, and she was gone. They had to let her
When
go.
you said, there's only 12 or 13 of us, I knew that's where that story was going. There has never in the history of mankind have there been a dozen people together where you haven't had one buzzkill in there. You know,
that's why the average conspiracy theory can be refuted by simply, do you think that many people can keep a secret? That's always the everything you think is like it was a master plan. It was no, it's not. We can't even agree on what we're having for lunch, much less you can't go to lunch with 6 people and for no reason whatsoever say, okay, never tell anyone what we had. It'll last a day. Someone always has to tell.
Yeah,
you put that pressure on someone to keep a secret, it's over.
Sometimes you know who it is too, and you can try and threaten them.
Sure, well, that's very true.
Yeah,
she was going to go down. It's too bad she didn't buy you all a beer.
It didn't even occur to me. It's the first time I ever thought about it. Boy, talk about a missed opportunity. So this bar in Wisconsin, Drunk Uncle, or again, Drunkle. I mean, let's just call it what it is. Free beer for teachers. How about this? Another bar made headlines this week. This one is in Australia. They had to apologize. They had a promotion where they offered women free drinks based on their bra size. This is not from the 1960s. This is this week. A nightclub in Australia called Woolshed on Hindley. I'll go down to Woolshed on Hindley, mate, see what sort of jugs we've got in the place. You can just hear some Australian cattle farmer who's like, what's the problem? An ad on social media said the bigger the better. Women would get 1 free drink for an A cup, 2 for a B, 3 for a C, et cetera, et cetera.
I think I'd get 2. Oh, you had to be a woman. I'm sorry.
Of course, there was some incredible backlash online, and they have now apologized. They canceled the promotion, and the Facebook post, here's the best. We never intended to make people feel uncomfortable or body shamed, and we're workshopping ideas for different promotions that promote a fun, safe, and inclusive environment for all. If you want it to be fun and safe, make sure you don't let the dingoes in. They've got razor-sharp teeth and bad attitudes. But beyond that, no problem. I guess no harm, no foul. What are they thinking? How does an idea like that get past, a couple of gatekeepers? You think it's fine?
Beer. It's free beer. Even if you have small boobs, you still get a free beer.
Well, okay. So
I think if you're going to bars, Australia, I'm thinking Australia, Wisconsin. That's Wisconsin's like the stepchild of Australia. You just you kind of go for it, and that's where anything. It's always the 80s. Sure. In bars, I think, for the most part, without the touchy-feely stuff, the bad touch or whatever. But yeah, Candace, I mean, you make a good point. But you said on social media, and that's a whole. That's where all the rats you're talking about in your class that ratted out your French teacher for having a beer. That's where they all end up on social media.
If they just did this but didn't announce it, it just was one of those things you just knew. It's like if you go to In-N-Out Burger in L.A., they have a whole secret menu. Right. They don't post it, but you can order some really bizarre stuff. Well, you could go in there and just be like, Yeah, I'll have 2 beers for free. Wink, wink. And then the bartender knows it. Oh, okay, yeah. Looks like you got 2 beers for free right there.
Give a little shake.
Right. The word of mouth would fly out the door on that. It would be even cooler because it wasn't on social media and it wasn't just a PR stunt. You've got to be in the know,
Right.
And you make a good point. Just leave it off social media.
And by the way, speaking of things that sound like they're from the 80s, when I was in college, I just remembered this. There was a bar in Bowling Green, Kentucky that had Bladderbust. You know what that is?
No. Yeah.
Free draft beer. Until someone uses the bathroom.
Anyone?
Anyone. They had a guy outside both men's and women's. They had a guy positioned there. And you'd fill a bar with college kids, and draft beer is free as long as no one uses the bathroom.
Oh, wow.
And so then, and it's always a chick who's like, and the guys are like, just pee yourself. Stop it. Do not go in there. Just wet yourself. And people would. I mean, you'd just be like, I just wear, I knew guys who were like, I'm just wearing 3 pairs of sweatpants, and I'll just pee myself for as long. And you just go in and drink free draft beer. It would go for over an hour.
Yeah. Show up and
Pounding.
Depends.
Yeah, exactly. It's amazing. If you tried to do that right now, man, it would be like it would be like state-sanctioned arson. Burn that building to the ground.
Maybe we've come too far for our own good sometimes. I mean, there is progress, and what is it? Let's hope we're taking 2 steps forward with our 1 step back, I guess.
Yeah.
How do you pronounce our comedian coming up here? Ellie Hino?
Ellie Hino.
Yeah, Ellie Hino. She's a Minneapolis-based stand-up comic. I can't wait to meet her telephonically when she calls in here to the show at 8:30. Hang tight.
The KQ Morning Show is back. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Friday, June 9th. Tonight at 8 p.m., you can go to the Laugh Camp Comedy Club if you're so inclined to see our guest right now. Ellie Hino will be there tonight at 8 p.m. Tomorrow night, June 10th, at 9 p.m. And as I just mentioned, she's on the horn right now. Good morning, Ellie.
Good morning.
Ellie, what's the first concert you ever attended?
Oh, Genesis.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
What year are we talking? What year-ish?
8th grade.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm 45, so we got to do the math together.
I didn't know there was going to be math. It's early in the morning.
You got to go to a Genesis concert when you're in 8th grade? You have hip parents.
I don't know about that. They were kind of on their way out.
Yeah. Well, I asked because we've been buzzing over, Candace and I here on the morning show. We saw The Cure last night. Did you by any chance see that show?
No, but I've seen a bunch of pictures online.
Oh, well, it's just as good. And you probably got more sleep than we did then. So you're at the Laugh Camp Comedy Club tonight and tomorrow night. Hey, are you still married? Because, based on a lot of the bits of yours I've seen, you never really know. It's probably a safe question to ask.
Yeah, that is a good thing to keep updated on, but we're still good. He went and got me McDonald's breakfast this morning since he knew I had to do a morning show. I mean, that's a good guy right there.
Yeah, that's capital keeper right there.
Yep.
Would have been nice if he'd brought enough for everybody.
I know. Oh man, sorry. Sorry, guys.
You're Minneapolis based. Are you from this area originally?
No, I'm from Madison, Wisconsin. But,
Right.
Close enough.
Close enough. All right. Yeah. So
I moved here in my early 20s, and I won't be going anywhere, I don't think.
As people tend to do from the upper Midwest. This is the hub. Did you come here with comedy on your mind, or was there something else that brought you to the Twin Cities?
I did. I came up for the Brave New Workshop. Mm-hmm. And I worked there for many years.
And so
and I was also a waitress,
Oh, well, sure. I mean, what self-respecting comic wasn't at some point waiting tables along the way? Were you, I mean, as a kid, were you making folks laugh? Did you get to college and suddenly discover you're funny? What was the genesis of this bizarre pursuit of yours where you get up in a room in front of strangers and make them laugh?
Yeah, I don't think I knew I was funny as a kid. I just thought I was weird. I mean, that's what everyone told me.
That works just as well.
But then I remember one time coming home from college, and, I partied with a bunch of weirdos in college.
Right.
And then I came home, and I was playing Trivial Pursuit with my parents, and I remember them going, I don't remember you being this funny.
Yeah.
You grew into it.
Yeah, you had to get away to let that freak flag fly a little bit.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a beautiful thing. Ellie Hino's with us on the KQ Morning Show at the Laugh Camp Comedy Club tonight at 8 p.m. and tomorrow night at 9 p.m. So as you started thinking, maybe there's a place here for me, maybe I could do that, were there any significant, mostly inspirational comics? Was there a short list of people you saw and went, oh, I get it, I got to, that's my guy, that's my gal?
You know what? Maria Bamford.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Also, yeah, I got to see her when I was just starting out. Well, I've been on and off with stand-up for many, many years. But when I was in my 20s, I did it for a while. And I saw her, and I remember being blown away. And then last year, I got to open for her at Pantages, and it was a very cool,
that's great.
Very cool moment.
I can speak as a musician. There's nothing more confounding than when you see someone that inspires you so much, but then you also think, who am I kidding? Like, how could I possibly do that? You know, she's incredible and she's so unique. There had to be a little bit of you that was like, oh, that's the competition, or that's what I got to try to match. No way. I mean, that's just
sure.
in a good way and bad way.
Sometimes you walk out of watching a show, and you know, probably as a musician, I don't know, maybe you do, but I don't go and see as many shows as.
No, I wish I saw more. Except when I'm at gigs, I'm like, this is great, and then I'm like, well, I'll take a few months off. Then I don't need to get back to one.
But when you watch, it's you either walk away super inspired, or they're terrible, and you're like, whew, I'm doing great. Or you're like, oh, just forget it, I quit.
Yeah, right.
One of the three. Hey, Ellie, I'm on Eventbrite.com where you get your tickets for tonight or tomorrow night's show. Minneapolis-based stand-up comic with a heart of gold. I've not seen that in a descriptor for a comic before. Where'd you get the heart of gold tag?
I don't know, you know, like a hooker with a heart of gold.
That's where my head went. I was like, really?
Right.
That's like that's like a film noir staple, isn't it?
I like it. It's a great line.
We had when my mom's had her 70th birthday many years ago, and we made up shirts that looked like a playbill from Broadway. And I think I listed my sister, who was an actress at the time. I think I listed her as the thespian with a heart of gold, and that was the joke.
Perfect.
It was like, yeah, we know what you're getting up to in the big city, floozy.
I thought maybe she, was that kind of comedian that the other comedians depended on. Like, I'm hungover, I can't make it to work tonight. Ellie, call Ellie. She always fills in. She has a heart of gold.
No, not a chance.
All right.
Nah, not me.
Right.
No, when someone tells you, "Good to meet you," I'm a hell of a guy. You gotta put the head on a swivel. So I see where you're coming from, Ellie.
Do you use your comedy on the family? In other words, if the family thinks it's funny, do you take it to the stage, or do you go, I can't use that because my family thinks it's funny?
I don't know. Yeah. My kid thinks I'm hilarious. He's 7. He just did stand up for his talent show.
What? Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you write some jokes for him?
He crushed.
Yeah.
We did. We helped him out.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's amazing. I've never even occurred to me. I know a million musicians and their kids play music together, and then they get, my son got up and played a drum solo in his 3rd grade talent show. I never thought about, would a comedian's kid do comedy at that age? That's awesome.
Except now all his teachers know that his mom does stand-up comedy, so I hope he doesn't get in trouble.
Well, you're gonna have a bunch of teachers, suddenly like they're gonna turn up at your gigs, and then you'll see them. They'll get sloppy drunk, and you'll have all the leverage on them you'll ever need again. It'll be great.
Perfect. Good idea.
Laugh Camp Comedy Club tonight at 8 p.m. Tomorrow night, June 10th at 9 p.m. Ellie Hino will be appearing. You can go to Eventbrite.com. You can go to the Laugh Camp Comedy Club website to find tickets. That sounds great. Oh, and you just recorded your debut comedy album. Is that correct?
That's it. Yeah, we did it.
And,
I did it.
Yeah, who's this we you're talking about? As far as I can tell, it's you, lady.
Me and my other me's.
Yeah, all the many faces of Ellie. Last thing, ever play music? Did you ever pick up a guitar or anything like that as a kid?
Ooh, yeah. I took guitar lessons in 8th grade from a guy who looked like a blonde Slash.
Nice. Yes.
And in 8th grade, he would tell me, like, where he grew his stuff.
Okay.
And and he taught me Metallica Enter Sandman, and I think I can still play the opening.
Oh, that's
Impressive.
awesome. Was his name Chainsaw or anything cool like that?
I don't remember.
So the same parents who let their 8th grader go see Genesis were like, well, this guy seems like a reputable guitar teacher. He'll be great.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Ellie, it's a pleasure to chat with you. Have a great couple of nights at the Laugh Camp Comedy Club. Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys. Have a good
See
day.
ya. Bye. I've never in a million years did it occur to me that a comedian's kid would get up and do comedy themselves. I don't know why. That's just the cutest thing in the world. I can't imagine.
Yeah, that is really, really cute.
And I love the idea of there being a 2nd or 3rd grade kid who's just great with hecklers already. You know what I mean? Like, just you stand up in your talent show and you see some kids snickering and you just eviscerate them. The teacher's like, whoa, what's happening here?
You got a pro.
Yeah, I mean that's just fantastic.
Ringer in the classroom. Yeah.
My son was playing drums as a kid. He had a little Ludwig Jr. drum kit when he was like 3, and he used to just absolutely Bobby Brady the daylights out of that thing.
Yeah.
He was just nonstop, but he had a good feel, good absolutely natural sense. And when he hit, I think it was 4th grade, the class had their class music program or talent program, I should say. And one of his best friends, a kid who's like an extension of our family, they've been buddies since kindergarten. At that time was already taking drum lessons. Like he'd go to the drum store and get lessons, and he would read the drum sheet music. And he was very, very good, but very disciplined and learned. And he was going to play a drum solo. And so my son Connell asked him, he goes, oh, well, if you're bringing your drum kit in, I'll do a drum solo too. And his buddy was like, that'll be great. We'll both do it. So his buddy Eli got up there first, and he has his music stand, and he opens his book, and he just played a bunch of patterns like Wipeout and a couple of other drum things you would have recognized from the sound. And right away you're like, oh, that's Wipeout, or oh, that's When the Levee Breaks. So you're just playing some really famous drum patterns. But he had them all in the book, and it was very straight and very disciplined and learned. For a week before my son's performance, I kept saying, do you want to like build a drum solo? Do you want me to tell you like how? No, I got it. Okay. Well, why don't I just take a listen? No, I got it. It's all in my head.
Huh.
Literally didn't go near his kit for that whole week, and then sat down and just blew the roof off the place.
Wow.
To the point where I was literally like, okay, I don't care that this is my kid. This is unbelievable. And I'm like, where did that come from? He's like, I just knew when the moment hit, I'd have it. Like
what?
And I mean, I couldn't believe it. And I kid you not, to the best of my knowledge, that's the last time he ever played.
Are you kidding?
I was going to
me?
ask if he's pursuing it now.
No, he put the sticks down. He's like, I'm done.
Yeah, Dad, it's too easy.
He peaked in the 4th grade talent show.
Well, hey,
truly.
Mic drop and walk off. I love to ask a highly successful, especially rock musicians, this question. I've not asked you, but since you brought it up, can you read sheet music?
Oh, God, no.
Almost
kidding?
none of them. In fact, I remember reading a story, I think it was in the 90s, and again, I'm sure I'm way off on that, but it was late in his life that Paul McCartney decided to write an opera or something like that, and he had to learn sheet music.
Yeah.
And I went, what? Paul McCartney doesn't know feel. It's all feel.
Oh, no. I like, to your point, I know very few musicians that read music for real. Like, I know a lot of music teachers that do. And other types of, obviously, if you're a classically trained pianist, you're reading sheet music. But, oh, heck no, man. I mean, I was in a band where members of the band were constantly playing things, and somebody'd say, what chord is that? And they'd go, I don't know. It's a suspended D something. It's just like I don't know drum rudiments. I mean, I play them, but I don't know what they're called. When someone says, hey, do you have that Swiss triple roll? I'm like, I don't know if that's food or a rudiment. Right. But apparently it's a marching drum rudiment. I don't know any of that stuff. I know what a paradiddle is, and I just like saying the word.
It's a fun word.
Yeah.
Paradiddle. Let's paradiddle along. First album single you rushed to the record store to buy. This is up on the KQ Morning Show Facebook page, and I love this. And I've just been sort of scrolling through some of these during the last break. Let's keep it going. We'll roll into that at 9 o'clock. If you want to share a first album story, you think it's interesting, you want to share it with the Morning Show, Maple Grove Lock and Safe, talk and text, 651-989-ROCK. Hang tight.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Friday, June the 9th. Cheap Trick, Surrender. The song that Damone and Fast Times was trying to sell tickets on the track. Remember him singing that song?
Doing the air guitar.
Did you call me a scalper? Listen, gentlemen, I perform a service here, and the service costs money. I saw Damone at a Starbucks in L.A. in 2003, and I was like, that's Damone. And I didn't say anything to him because I thought, he's probably tired of people going, hey, Damone, sing Surrender. I was the one guy who was a senior in high school when that movie came out that resisted getting excited about it. I hope he appreciates me because I had to talk myself off that ledge for like 5 minutes. I was like, oh, my God, I'm never going to get this chance again. I let it go. We were mentioning earlier in the show, Zepp, you said the first album you ever bought was Kiss Alive 2.
Yeah.
Which is just as good as it got with Kiss and me. That wasn't the first album I ever bought, but I did own it as well. Was there also, by chance, the first 45 you ever bought? Do you remember the first single you ever paid for?
By the time I started, I inherited an 8-track player.
Oh, nice.
From Mom, who was in the Columbia 8-track club.
Sure she was.
So, I inherited all of her. And there was a lot of good stuff in there. 3 Dog Night. Mom loved 3 Dog Night. I still have an affection for them now. And Blood, Sweat, and Tears and Faces, anything Rod Stewart recorded. I didn't really get into the single thing. The 70s took off with the albums. All I remember about singles is we had the little suitcase record player from Grandma when we were little kids, and she gave us a couple of singles. One was Hanky Panky by Tommy James and the Shondells. I don't even know what was on the other side, and I sure as hell didn't know what Hanky Panky was. But what a fun song to sing along with. And the other one was the timeless classic, Snoopy and the Red Baron. That's all I really remember. We didn't pile up singles out there on the farm very often. We didn't get into into the record store. So by the time I was going in to buy records at Music Land in Huron, South Dakota, it was Kiss Alive 2 for me.
Oh, that's awesome. Candace, Zepp referenced the Columbia House Record Club. Are you familiar with that? Do you have any idea what that is?
No.
Oh, my. Back in the day.
1 penny. For 1 cent.
You could literally, you mailed a penny to a thing called the Columbia House Record and Tape Club, and you could pick out 12 albums or 8 tracks or cassette tapes, and they would come to your house. 12 for a penny.
Yeah.
And then the back end of that was for the next 2 years you had to purchase like a dozen or 5 or 6 or whatever at full price. But you got a dozen records for a penny. And if you were in college and you changed dorm rooms every semester, well, you got 24 records for 2 pennies. And then after your junior year, it was 36. And that I took advantage of that. I changed dorm rooms for 7 straight semesters. And the first thing I did every time I got a new dorm room was send a penny in. I got a crate of records for 5 cents, 7 cents or whatever. Never caught up to me. I would get a letter in the mail saying, okay, you're late on buying your first one. This will go against your credit report.
Right.
And I was like, credit report?
What?
I'm never going to have a credit card. I didn't even know what it meant. I was like, yeah, whatever. But no, this is true. It's incredible to think about that was how it used to roll. The Columbia House thing was amazing. The first album I ever paid for with my own money, I had several albums already. I had a couple Bee Gees albums. I had some Beatles albums. They were given to me. But I went to a store called Drug Fair, and I paid $4.44 for Beatles 6.
Oh.
Beatles 6, which was, the Beatles released albums in the UK, and then Capitol Records, their American label, reconfigured. It was like different. Like Beatles 6 was not released in the UK. It was like a compilation album. They were just doing totally different things then. But Beatles 6 had Kansas City. The hit single from Beatles 6 was 8 Days a Week.
Yeah.
Huge. And I mean, something about that, like, this is my money. And this is my album. I was beyond thrilled. And I did also purchase the 45. My first ever single was Ringo Starr's Photograph.
Oh, yeah. Huge hit. Wasn't that was that a number one?
Huge
he had a
hit.
couple.
Huge hit. Photograph, oddly enough, just occurred to me. The song Photograph by Ringo Starr. And last night I watched The Cure do the song Pictures of You. Both songs make me cry. I immediately tear up. If I hear Ringo Starr's Photograph, I get so emotional. That song has been a part of my life for so long. And it was so bittersweet. It made me sad as a kid, much less now. And I didn't even have photographs of people to miss at that time.
Oh, I feel the same way about Rock and Roll All Night.
You guys are so cool. You guys talk about all these cool things you had. These singles, these
Okay.
I don't even know what you're talking about. You totally missed out in the 90s.
Uh-huh.
We had Hit Clips, which was a tiny little boombox keychain, and you could have it, and then you could buy tiny little like record cartridges, and it was 60 seconds of a song, and it was like such a big deal. It was the coolest thing ever. It sounds so stupid, but I mean, because I think singles are stupid.
That sounds like that sounds like torture.
Yeah, at least the single was the song. You got 60
But it's not
seconds.
as fun. You
Sure.
can't put it on your backpack and take it to school with you and trade them. And it was a big deal. The 90s were something else.
Yeah, God, I was busy. Tony, first album you ever paid for with your own money? Do you remember?
Well, you mentioned the dollar amount. I remember exactly, too. It was Jimi Hendrix Smash Hits. It was $4.81.
Oh, wow.
But my first single I got, pretty dark. I would sit in the basement and turn all the lights off and listen to it. It was DOA by Blood Rock.
Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty creepy. But
Was Mom upstairs
amazing.
crying?
She didn't know.
We've lost
Probably good.
Anthony.
Over and over again, too.
Say it again. What is it? DOA?
DOA by Blood Rock. It's about a plane crash.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you know it immediately.
Oh, my God.
Where's our Blood Rock? Fire up a little bit here for us. It's been years since I've heard that one. It's a class. It's that one where you go, oh, yeah, as soon as he plays it. You go, that's that one. There you go.
I just can't get over the sitting in the dark and listening to it repeatedly thing.
Lights off.
Well, I got one word, and you don't have to go into this if it's too personal, but it's just a question. Acne?
Well, there was. This. I think there was even pre that.
It was pre-acne in the dark listening to records.
I thought you were going to ask like bodies in the freezer.
No, I'm just straight up. Well, one step, baby steps here. But by the way, I also, the 45 for Gilbert O'Sullivan's Claire was a Gorman staple. Another song that made me emotional. And then one day I read it, he wrote it, it was about his niece, I believe. And I got a little creeped out.
Right, there was a little giggle at the end.
Yeah. It was just about a little girl that he loved, like very, very sweetly, like just great old Uncle Gilbert. Not kind of nuts, kind of creepy. But then Alone Again, also, boy, we're just going down a hit parade of songs that broke my heart. Might as well get right to Shannon Is Gone. I hope she's drifted out to sea. And the all-time greatest cry song of the 70s, of course, that would be Seasons in the Sun by Terry Jacks.
Oh, yeah.
Lonely Boy would make me tear up.
Oh, sure it would.
Oh, yeah, Andrew Gold?
Yes.
Is that who that was? Jeez. My mom was also a big fan of the 8-tracks that, remember the K-Tel 8-tracks that had all the hits? You mentioned Alone Again, Naturally, Gilbert O'Sullivan, all those songs. And what was that? A Beach Baby was on there. I remember she'd be cranking those.
The K-Tel commercials where it would you just get the snippet of each song in between. Yeah. Those were fantastic. There was a time, Candace, when there was a thing that you would get. There were singles. These were hit singles. They were by a group called Stars on 45, and it was basically medleys of other big hit singles. It was just the chorus of one song.
I like that.
And then it would go to a little groove, and then they would tie it together like it was bizarre. It was a cross between like a Pepsi jingle and a montage of your favorite songs, but like they were big hits. It was weird. The licensing alone, I mean, who was paying for all that? Hall & Oates, one of those. I think I mentioned this the other day, but it's true because I remember doing this myself as a professional musician. Like sometime in the 90s, I'm in this rock band, we're touring all over and doing all this cool stuff. And at some point somewhere, I heard like 3 straight Hall & Oates songs I hadn't heard since the 80s, and it hit me. I was like, oh my God, they're amazing.
Yeah.
That's not like pop garbage from the 80s. That's phenomenal soul music. I forgot completely how great Hall & Oates were.
Did you cry?
I didn't cry then. I was too drunk to cry.
You man-eater.
Yeah, that's it.
They were one of those bands that was never hip in my time. You know, they were always the ladies like to listen to Hall & Oates. We don't like Hall & Oates, but a Hall & Oates song comes on and somehow I know every word. To the song, and I love it. I sing along. Some of them are just absolutely phenomenal. Man-Eater, I don't know as much.
Yeah.
I think that's maybe when they jumped the shark for a lot of people.
It's past the point of no return era for sure. And speaking of man-eaters, we talk a lot about the mosquitoes in Minnesota. How about this? A dude got attacked by bees. A 47-year-old man named Albert Katanoff was looking at a house for his son last month. He was attacked by bees, a huge beehive. He was stung over 1,000 times. 1,000 bee stings. Now, this man is not allergic to bees, thankfully, because, one bee can knock you out if you're allergic. But that many stings will still do you in. He collapsed. He lost consciousness. And in fact, he did stop breathing because 1,000 bee stings will do that to you. What saved his life? Well, last year's heart attack saved his life, by which I mean after he had a heart attack a year ago, he was given a pacemaker. And the pacemaker restarted his heart. When the doctors got him to the hospital, they found out, because you can find out these things. His pacemaker shocked his heart back into rhythm 7 times. Oh, wow. His heart kept stopping, and the pacemaker would kick it back up.
Well, yeah.
So, again, remember, I think the lesson here is if you have a heart attack and then you get a pacemaker, you're cool to get attacked by a hive of bees.
You're bee-proof.
I guess that's what that means.
Yeah.
Just go throw caution to the wind and go tackle a hive.
They don't promote that enough, do they?
They don't. They never say that's one of the side effects of a pacemaker. Bees, go ahead.
Yeah, driving around out there in the country, you always see those white boxes over there. Go ahead, peel the top off one of those, dig in and get some honey.
Pacemaker C2000 from Merck. Bees, go ahead.
I love it.
That should be the slogan.
Oh, no kidding. You guys, when I first saw this headline, here's the headline: the 2 beers and a puppy test. 2 beers and a puppy test. Quick way to figure out if you want someone in your life. Almost scrolled past it. I scoffed. But then I read on. I think there's something to this. You tell me. We'll share it with you here at 9:30. Hang tight.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Friday, June the 9th. Before we wrap it up for the weekend on the morning show, just want to say yet again, me and Candace are cooler than you because we saw The Cure last night.
Hell yeah.
You are cool.
Thank you.
We're so cool. Thanks, guys. Thanks for thinking me and Candace are the cool ones today.
Yeah, they were awesome. I almost didn't go. Yesterday was one of those days that I felt like the world was going to end because I had so much going on. It was just like boom, 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 boom.
Right.
But I'm glad I made it. And that voice, I can't get it out of my head.
I'm with you. It was a game time decision. Actually, there was this 7:15 still going. Are we going to do this? Are we going to do it? And boy, I'm really, really, really grateful that we did. And if my wife wakes up, I'll find out if she still feels that way. So we'll see.
You got the weekend to snooze it up.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right, Tony Lee. And speaking of snoozing it up, we would love to help out a listener if they were interested in going to see Guns N' Roses. Now, if you go see Guns N' Roses, you got to book some chill time after that. That's pretty intense. They're on the road right now, and they're playing in San Diego on October 1st, and we would love to give you a chance to go see that show. If you win, you'll get round-trip airfare for 2, a 2-night hotel stay, premium tickets to the gig, and a bunch of extra stuff. The Paradise City VIP Lounge package. There's Guns N' Roses merch, an official tour laminate, entry to the VIP Lounge. Here's what you do. In order to attempt to win this bad boy, text the national keyword. It is city, as in Paradise City. Text city to 95819 right now for your chance to win. Boo! Boo! I thought if I went, boo, that would be a way of me saying I'm done talking about Guns N' Roses. And by the way, you know what else is done? Dalvin Cook in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Vikings are, well, I don't want to say they're cutting bait, but they're moving on.
I've been waiting to play this.
Dalvin Cook takes off. There he goes.
There it is.
You don't often see a 13-win team dismantled like this one is. I understand. You've got some a new D coordinator in, and you're making a new head coach a year ago and a new GM. But wow, they pulled this team apart. I'm sure I don't even understand all the reasonings, cap room, that kind of stuff, money. But boy, have I enjoyed watching him play in Minnesota, and one of the more talented backs in the league, no doubt about it, and still plenty of tread on those tires.
Only 28 years old. Another great Vikings running back back in the day. Not the man singing to me and Candace last night, but the other Robert Smith on Twitter yesterday said, I loved when the Vikings drafted him. I really enjoyed watching him. Hate to see him leave, but it's just business. The NFL running back position has seen a decline in value, supply and demand at work again. And then he tweeted, a lot of people are blaming the salary cap, but cap hits can be manipulated if both sides agree on value moving forward. If the Vikings thought he was worth his contract, they would have kept him. If another team thought he was worth his current deal, they would have traded for him.
Right.
The word is, apparently, from what other teams didn't do, is that people think right now he's not worth his current deal. We shall see. I guarantee you someone's going to scoop him up pretty quick, though.
Oh, no doubt. I mean,
Vikes have youngsters who have shown flashes, like Alex Madison, Ty Chandler, and they drafted Dwayne McBride, he's a monster.
There you have it. Candace?
He's a monster.
That's exactly
He's
right.
ferocious.
Yeah,
We're
he'll
lucky.
Haunt your dreams.
All right. Zepp, you talked about the 2 beers and a puppy test.
Oh, yeah. So
is this when you give 2 beers to a puppy to just gauge on whether or not it's a drinking dog? What are you talking about?
2 beers to your buddy and take the puppy home. No, this is weird. It's one of those things I'm like, if you want to test a quick way to figure out if you want someone in your life, family member, friend, whomever, stranger you meet on the street today, are they my kind of person? You give them the 2 beers and a puppy test, and you just really ask them 2 questions. And I thought, well, this is stupid, but I clicked on it anyway, because I love to click on stupid things.
Right.
Maybe there's something to it. You tell me. First question. Would you want to have 2 beers with this person? Because there's a big difference. But I'll have a beer with anyone.
Right.
But 2 beers.
Okay.
Now we're getting into some stuff. Now
That says a lot about your gut. Don't think about it. Gut reaction. Do you want 2 beers with this person? Got it.
Right.
Okay.
Would you trust this person to look after your puppy for the weekend?
I'm never going to find anybody.
Well, hold on. Hold on. In my mind, that is by design 2 separate categories of people I want in my life. I want the person I'm going to go have a couple beers with, and then over here I've got people that I would trust with my puppy, and they don't need to be the same person. In fact, I prefer they not be.
Yeah, fun and responsible are 2 different things.
Yeah, and it's funny you say this is. I remember saying this. When my kids were starting in preschool, and right away you're hanging out with your friends, and then you meet new parental friends. Like your kids, suddenly you have this whole new world of adult friendship where it's because of your kids. You're meeting all their friends' parents. And there were I've heard myself say this, like, oh, I never want to hang out with them again, but I'd totally leave the kids there for the weekend.
Yeah.
It's like you bore me to tears, but my kid will be safe with you. I mean, that's like the line in the sand of, they're not mutually exclusive to me. It's like, no, give me both bags of folks.
Well, but either one of those folks, it sounds like you would phase through. They could come in and out of your life. The kids grow up. The puppy grows up. You don't need a dog sitter. I don't want this and that. But if you want someone in your life, this is, they're latched on or going the distance all the way to the end, either as best friends or,
I see.
or something. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I don't know if this is, but it's something to mull over.
Well,
I mean, it's thinking.
It's not unlike they say, your close friend is who you call when you're in the drunk tank and need to get bailed out, and your best friend is the guy sitting right there next to you.
Yep.
You got to know the difference.
That's funny.
True. That's true.
That's exactly right. I prefer to go back and talk about giving puppies beer. I thought that's what we were going with.
Gigi loves to try to sneak a drink.
Oh, really?
What have you given her?
Every time. No, I don't give it to her. She just always.
She's got to earn it.
Yeah.
Every time I look away, she's trying to get at it.
They're sneaky like
that.
Mama.
We
just like Mama.
Hey, we decided early on, Chauncey does not get sips of beer or wine. He absolutely doesn't get gummies. We only give him our prescription medication. We're responsible dog owners.
He's sometimes I think he needs a little.
He's all
he clears him up some Benadryl or something.
There's you know what he does need. He needs a lot of things.
Yeah.
A lot of help, a lot of love.
Don't we all?
Oh, he's a good boy.
He is a good boy. Look at him. He's just he's sound asleep.
Well, if you want me to look after your puppy for the weekend, you better bring me a couple of beers.
That's actually the tie-in right there. You want me to check this puppy out? Couple beers, couple sixers.
Right.
Couple sixers is what that's going to take.
Jaunts.
I don't know. I gotta really trust you to take Gigi for a weekend. That's gotta be it.
I wasn't offering for Gigi.
I got. See,
I think you guys would just hit it off.
We probably would. You may not get her back.
I would trust any of you guys to take care of Chauncey for the weekend. He's the wild card. He's the. I'm worried about him because there's a strength There's a strength in that boy that you don't understand. When he's on a leash and he sees another dog, he'll pull your shoulder right out of its socket. And he's a Tennessee gentleman, that Chauncey Gorman. Anybody have, other than watching, any good weekend plans before we jump? Anything on the docket? The Cure, that was my weekend. I mean, that was last night. I got nothing. Is anything happening?
Yeah, tons. I'm going to go see one of my favorite podcasts at the Fillmore tonight. It's called Giggly Squad.
Okay.
And it's these two one's a comedian, one's the reality stars from this show that I really like. But they're going to be at the Fillmore, so that's tonight. I'm going with my friend Jessica's mom.
Very nice.
So that's going to be fun. And then tomorrow my band is practicing after a few months. So
practice.
We're going to lay down some stuff tomorrow.
The first rule of band practice, arrive having eaten.
Yeah, for sure.
Always important. I'm going to be having band practice, too, just by myself. I will be drumming a lot this weekend.
All right.
Getting in shape because, hey, a week from tomorrow, my band Bagmen playing over at Leinenkugel at the Leinie Lodge.
Can't wait for that.
But it's either going to be like a blast or I'm going to just never want to show my face again. I don't know. We'll just see what happens.
That's going to be a blast. There's beer there.
I've got to put the pressure on myself. I've got to be a nervous wrecker. It's just pointless. You know what I mean?
I would take your kid's attitude when he was 7 at the talent show.
Yeah, that's true.
Just let it all hang out, man.
All right, thanks. Screw practicing this weekend.
You know what you're doing.
I don't need to get on those drums.
Right.
I know what I'm doing. Tony, anything? Family plans?
A couple of grad parties, and we're going to be at Brits. We're going to watch Man City versus...
the European Championship.
Uh-huh.
Wow, you're going to watch Man City just steamroll. Who is it, Inter?
Yeah.
I'm going to kill him. Zepp, what do you got?
Inter Audi.
I am going to be hanging out across the border in Grantsburg, Wisconsin at the world-famous Rendezvous Bar with the Squirrels Unlimited crew. And I dare not say too much more than that. But it's going to be, Candace, you know. It's going to be a wild weekend. They have quite a reputation.
Like most of Zepp's greatest hits, I'm now curious and bewildered and confused. So well done.
A little frightened.
Can't imagine what the hell you're talking about.
Well, if I'm not back here on Monday, then Candace and Tony will know why.
Then we will know. Well, as we look ahead to the weekend, it's always better to look back for a quick history lesson.
I want to learn about sports. I want to learn about music. Well, you've come to the right place, monsieur.
On this day in 1999, one of the great baseball moments of all time, Bobby Valentine. He was then the manager of the New York Mets. Fiery Bobby Valentine. He was arguing with an ump on an interference call, and the umpire threw him out of the game. He said, "You're out. See you later." And Bobby Valentine said, "Okay," and he walked into the dugout and went to the locker room. And then a few minutes later, he returned to the dugout, in a pair of sunglasses, wearing a Mets T-shirt, and he put a fake mustache on his face made out of black duct tape. And hoped no one would know who he was. This was an adult manager of a professional baseball team. He was wearing a Mets T-shirt, sunglasses, and again, a mustache made of duct tape. And the stadium cameras put him up on the Jumbotron. Like, hey, is that... And of course, he denied allegations. After the game, he said, "That wasn't me." When asked. Truly. It was somebody else who didn't even look like me, he told reporters. Baseball officials were like, yeah, it is. He got a 2-game suspension and a $5,000 fine. That's
worth it.
That's just good. It's totally worth it. That's good living. You remember the band, the pop group TLC?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
TLC, man, Scrubs. Scrubs was the jam back in the day.
Ooh, I had a crush on Chili.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. On this day in 1994, I was an Atlanta resident, and I woke up, turned on the local news, and the report was Falcons wide receiver Andre Rison's home is on fire. And he had a giant mansion in the suburbs, and it burned all the way to the ground because his girlfriend, Lisa Left Eye Lopez from TLC, burnt that thing down.
Well, that's passion. She cares.
That's passion.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, a pop star and an NFL superstar living together. They had an argument. She burned his, at that time, $2 million home right to the ground. By the way, she did not go to jail. She was fined $10,000 and given 5 years probation.
Well, I mean, come on.
Man.
Yeah. I knew a guy one time that his girlfriend shot him And after he got out of the hospital and she got out of prison, it was just a spin for her in prison. They got married. I'm like, are you out of your mind? He goes, dude, I didn't know she loved me till she shot me.
Well,
she cared enough to shoot me.
I don't want to know their names, and I hope I never meet them.
Hallmark card would have done the job.
Yeah,
certainly would have.
Yeah.
Listen.
Today and every weekday at noon, I'm going to be smiling all weekend. Today and every weekday at noon, it's a free ride. Minnesota's commercial-free classic rock on 92 KQRS.